You're listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast brought to you by DraftKings. Great deal going on right now, everyone. You throw down you throw down $1 on an NFL game, and if either team scores, you get $100 in free plays. That's how it works. That's how easy it is. Go ahead and give it a look. All right. We got a DraftKings Sportsbook app, by the way. All right, we got a ton of comments. We already got 25 comments. You guys in here are the absolute best. Going to get to my thoughts real quick, and then we're going to get to yours because that's what makes this exciting. First and foremost, Arizona wins 101-76. Now, my initial thoughts are Northern Colorado doesn't stink. I mean, you look at their record and you see who they're playing, and you're thinking to yourself, well, yeah, they're not that good. That's not a bad team. And they look the part out there. But Arizona, and we're going to get to this a ton, in the second half, when they hit you with that run, it's so eerily similar of what the Lute Olson teams in the late 90s, early 2000s, where it's an 8-point game, you go to get some popcorn and you come back and, oh, by the way, Arizona's up 27 points. So that's kind of how that went. I've got some thoughts on that. I've also got some thoughts on basically what you were some of the crowd out there. I think that we need to be able to do a little bit better there. But again, thanks for everybody hopping on here. We got Nick Howard, we got Sean Seeley, we got Bear Down Ray, we got everybody. Robbie's in here as well. And let's start with this because I think this is a good point, and I want to hit on this first because a lot of people were mentioning this. And this is from Scott Schlittenhart. Why do players have to tell fans to cheer now? That's unacceptable. And, Arizona's known for having a great fan base. So we hold everybody I think we hold Arizona fans to a higher standard. I think and we should, because again, McHale is known as the best place to play in the entire conference, probably on the entire West Coast. Arizona fans travel everywhere. You got a top 10 team right here, and there's 5,000 seats. That's what I don't really get, and that's what I think is a little concerning, and I don't know exactly what it is. I'm curious as to all of your takes on there. We're going to get to some comments here. Jacob Franklin says, "Be afraid of ASU, Mike. Be very afraid." Well, yeah, I'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But let's stay on the good. Let's stay on the good first, and then we'll get to a few of my quibbles. And first and foremost, let's see here. Let's go to Nick Howard right here, and I think this hits the nail on the head. How good are we? Played uninspired ball for 33 minutes and scored 101 and won by 25. And Nick, my man, you hit the nail on the head right there. That's why this team is different. Their margin for error is insane. That Arizona didn't play well. Northern Colorado shot incredibly well in that first half. And, by the way, you look at it and Arizona still goes on and they push the point spread. By the way, I was talking with a lot of people on press row. I know that sounds cool. And I'm like, I like Northern Colorado with the points. I'm gloating all game. I was tweeting back and forth with Jody Ayler a little bit, and Arizona ends up not covering but pushing that spread. So take that for what it's worth. That was my DraftKings pick of the week, actually. So again, okay. So now let's see here. Let's get to Bear Down Ray. Bear Down Ray says, teams that make it close, Illinois and Colorado killed it from the arc. And that's how you're going to have to beat Arizona. I don't think that you can beat them in a traditional sense. I don't think that you can go into a game and just try to pound Arizona, play slow basketball, because honestly, they're going to hit you with that run. And you've got to be able to match that. And you've got to be able to match that from a 3-point perspective. And Northern Colorado early on, for sure, big time movement right there. And Illinois speaks for itself, I think, with, between Alfonso Plummer and Tim Frazier bombing 13, 14 threes between them, it seemed. That was a game where Arizona was going to was still able to win, but it wasn't maybe as aesthetically pleasing as maybe you would think in other terms. So that's the way that you're going to beat Arizona. I've asked a lot of people throughout, Kelvin Efon, Brian Jeffries, guys like that. How would you beat Arizona? And they all say from the outside. They all say from shooting. And I think that's spot on right there. And okay, so let's get to some more comments here. And I think KB Thiel hit another nail on the head. Sorry, guys, a lot of nails on the head being thrown around right now. He said that was a little scary. That team couldn't miss to save their lives. And those are the situations that scare you, because it's not like they were making wide open set threes. You were coming down off a rhythm bounce a lot of the time, or a one-step dribble, and you're launching it from three with somebody in your face, and you're still able to make a play like that. That's what kind of concerns, I think. That's what concerns you early on. Now, Arizona was able to stymie that eventually. Arizona was able to make plays that they needed and run away with that. But, KB Thiel makes a great point. Early on, I'm looking around at people, I'm like, this doesn't look exactly great. All right, there's a little bit of a tease. We're going to talk about this in the second part of the podcast. Angry Grim says, hello, who are you going to have on the podcast for the recruiting class? Well, tomorrow we're going to have Noah Fafita at 2:00. And then after that, we're going to have Kian Burnett Friday, and got another one working as well. So we got you all covered on that one as well. All right, let's see here. Nick Howard says, Kuntz or whatever doesn't stink. Now, if you remember who Kuntz was, that's a guy that played at Colorado, and he brought his wares over to Northern Colorado, and he certainly looked like a different guy out there. But let's break down a little bit of what Arizona was able to do. This was a nice game for Christian Koloko. It was you're going against a team with size, not exactly a ton of talent. But again, you look at the box score, and Koloko goes for 19 points, 8 rebounds. He was long in there. He was blocking shots. I'm assuming Tommy Lloyd talked to a lot of guys right there about what they needed to do better. And I'm assuming that Christian Koloko was one of those guys. All right, let's see here. I'm going to disagree with Mike Zuniga right here. He says, Tucson has become a terrible sports town. The fan support isn't here. First of all, Mike, I incredibly appreciate you for hopping on here, because, it's people like you that make this show. There's some people out there that would rather hear themselves. We want to hear from you. We want to hear from the fans. And Mike, here's what I'm going to say. With football, I always use the analogy of going to a bad restaurant where, if you keep giving me bad food, I'm going to have a hard time showing up. So I give a little bit of a pass right there when it comes to football. Basketball, though, what I saw out there was just, I was talking with Troy Hutchison, and he made a point. He said, I remember Miller's first year when Arizona ends up losing to UNLV, and they weren't even good, and that's kind of what the crowd looked like. I don't know. I'm curious to what you all think out there, but it could be worse, to be honest with you, because Jacob Franklin says, if it makes you feel any better, Mike, Tempe isn't good either. But, Jacob, we hold ourselves to a higher standard in the old Pueblo, and I think that goes without saying right there. So let's get to some more of these comments right here. Nick Howard says, Jacob, I'll take things we already know. I think I'll take things we already know for 2,000. So let's see here. KB Thiel is asking, and again, we're going to get to football on the next segment. It's weird going to going from basketball to football, but we're going to get there in just a minute. We got some big time guys coming in, and everybody, Jacob's my guy. Jacob's 6'7", which generally means if you're tall, you're probably 6'8". So he can handle it. He's got broad shoulders. He's tall. Let him have it, guys. But be nice about it, because he's a great dude. I wouldn't know how to do any of this stuff technologically without him. So, all right. So let's see here. Other than sport, let's see here. Oh, okay. No, CJ Mack. I'll pass on putting that one out there. Let's see. All right. So, and is Tempe basketball, are they ever good? I think that's a fair point to throw out here. All right. So again, this is a game that it just kind of showed you it's the margin for error that Arizona Hoops has. And I think that's what's so unique. I think that's what's so unique about this entire situation, is that Arizona gets hit with a team that's got some decent talent. And, oh yeah, by the way, your game's in single digits. I'm driving home because I'm going to hop on the post-game show, and that game is essentially a 25-point game by the end right there. That's how Arizona rolls. That's what Arizona basketball is, and I think that that's what we're looking at right here. And again, fans out there, let's do a little bit better because these guys are awesome. And they deserve a lot more. Let's see here. I don't want to butcher the name. Nako Okola says that Benn may be a top 5 pick in the draft. Man, he's looking good. I don't know that I go and take it for what it's worth. I don't know that I'd go that far because you look at the draft and there's guys that are already being spoken for when it comes to those picks. But this is a guy right now that I think 100% is going to be a lottery pick. A buddy of mine messaged me and he said, what are the chances of getting Benn back next year? Well, I think that there's next to no chance, as in 0. Basically about the same chance as me being as tall as Jacob by the time that we do the next post-game show. It's going to be that. And Nick Howard says Benn is a lottery pick, and I totally agree with that. And Bob right here says these runs is what Miller missed. And yes, Miller did a lot of really good things at Arizona, but you always felt like after a game, wasn't that a little closer than it should have been? And Tommy Lloyd makes absolutely no bones about it. This is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to run you out of the building. And when we run you out of the building, it's going to hit you, and it's going to hit you fast. And that's exactly what they do. And let's see here. CJ Mack actually put on something here that I'm going to post. And he says, Benn, Koloko, and Tabella should be solid in the draft. I think Arizona gets one of those guys back. And I think who knows? Maybe they get 2. I'm not going to sit here and say. So Nick Howard says a game like this would have been an under loss for Miller. I don't know that I'd go that far, my man, but this game would have certainly been a lot closer. And I think we would have been a lot closer than people think. So, all right, now Jesus VAZ, and it's not often we're going to do this, but we're about to get into some football right now as a little bit of a precursor, because Arizona football, for as much as the Cat fans have been beaten down, we've got a awesome recruiting class coming in, and we're about to talk about that. But before we do that, we're going to talk about DraftKings. You all know the drill here. You throw down $1 on an NFL game, new customers only, and if either team scores, you get $100 in free plays. It's really that simple. It's that fun. And you know what? It gives you a lot of skin in the game to be able to make things interesting. Now, if you got a problem, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. If you got a gambling issue, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Eligibility restrictions do apply, and Arizona only 21 and up. Again, 1-800-NEXT-STEP if you've got a gambling issue, and they'll take care of it for you. DraftKings Sportsbook app, that's where you can get everything going. All right. I'm actually really excited to talk a little bit of U of A football here because we got some good stuff coming on tomorrow. We've got, first and foremost, the leader of the recruiting class, Noah Fafita, is coming on tomorrow at 2:00. So mark your calendars. That's going to be a fun one. Now, you might say, who's Noah Fafita? And I'm assuming you're not saying that because you're watching the AZ Wildcats podcast, but he's the quarterback from nationally ranked Servite High School who committed early on to Arizona. And he's the guy that I think made this recruiting class really take form. After he committed, he gave Arizona a little bit of credibility that they didn't otherwise have. And that's with a Kean Burnett comes in after that, ex-USC commit, Chester Burnett's son. Could be a wide receiver, could be a tight end right here, could play a lot of different positions. Now, he's going to be coming on Friday, so I'm going to be able to talk a little bit about kind of the connection that both of those young men have. And again, really looking forward to that. But I'll give you a little bit of a synopsis kind of on why, and yes, bring on Mama Fafita. I texted Noah about a couple hours ago, and I said, your mom's more than welcome to come on. So that's certainly what we're going to be going for. And KB Thiel says, so Mike, when is T-Mac coming on the pod? I'll promise you this. If T-Mac comes to the U of A, We will 100% get him. We will 100% get him on the podcast. We will make that happen. But don't put the cart before the carriage, whatever that term is. But we will make that happen. But super excited to have Noah on tomorrow. We've had him on before, and he was absolutely fantastic. He was a guy that very well-rounded individual, and a lot of people have messaged me about him. And because when you look at his tape, you can see a few things. But first and foremost, you notice that he's about 5'9", 5'10". I don't find that to be the problem that maybe some people don't, that are like, oh, I want the 6'5" quarterback right there. Here's the thing. It's college football. And in college football, the one thing that does matter more so than anything is being able to get that ball, is being able to get the ball out and be able to make the reads and have the arm strength to make it happen. He's got all those. And think back, when you watch shorter quarterbacks in college, how many times do you really see a ball get batted down at the line because of their size? I mean, sure, it happens. And I think that it does happen. That's for sure. But I don't know that there's anything to indicate that, you're going to drop back and 20% of the passes are going to be knocked down at the line of scrimmage. And he's played against the best competition there is out there. I think it was Chip Kelly that said the Trinity League is the best best football in the entire country. And when you got modern day, you got Servite, you got Bosco, I think it's pretty difficult to argue that Chip's on point right there. And Nick Howard says, do you think T-Mac commits to us? I like where Arizona's trending. I'll say that. You know what? I'm not in here to break news. I'm in here to basically analyze what I see. I like the direction that Arizona's in right now, and I'll just kind of leave it at that one for right now. But again, love to be able to get him on. And let's see here. Nico Okola says maybe a Tua type player. A little bit different. First and foremost, you got to remember that when you're talking about a guy like a Tua Tagovailoa, that's a guy that's in the end. That's a guy that's in the NFL, that's starting at Alabama. I'm not going to put that kind of pressure on him. I don't think that he's that type of player, but I'm not going to limit what he can do. But again, the things that I think are incredibly important that you need to notice when you watch him on film, and that's Noah Fifita. First of all, he's got an arm. It's not the Kellen Moore type situation in the NFL where, I'm throwing 16-yard passes and anything above that is going to start to flutter. That is not the kind of guy that you're looking at when you look at Noah Fifita. He's a guy that can make all the throws. And to me, that's what matters. And if you can make all the throws, then you got to have somebody to throw it to. And first and foremost, that's where Kean Burnett comes in. Again, he's a 6'5", 225-pound specimen. Again, he was committed to USC. And honestly, everyone out there, this is the type of kid that looks like the Alabamas of the world, the LSUs of the world get. He's that kind of guy. And he's going to be able to, I think, step in pretty nicely next to, I don't know if you're going to put him on at tight end. I don't know if you're going to be able to put him where you're going to put him, but you can line him up all over the field and you can have him make plays. Now, let's talk about a couple other of the guys out there. And because there's far from it. Keep in mind right now, according to the 24/7 rank, Arizona is 33rd in the country, 3rd in the conference. And oh, by the way, there's two guys out there remaining who are both really, really good. All right. Then you get a commitment from Ephesus Prysock. First of all, it's a great name. And he's a kid that's out of Alamany Hills in California. He's a top 250 player in the country, could essentially go wherever he wanted as well. Arizona flipped him. You got to imagine, especially as a 6'3" defensive back, he's going to be able to come in here and he's going to be able to play pretty much immediately. And I think that's a little bit of the selling point. Sterling Lane, who we've had on before and we're efforting to have on Monday, is going to be able to probably come in, and I don't know if he's going to start immediately because it's tough when you're a front seven player, but he's going to be able to go in there and he's going to play major minutes. Again, he's 6'3", he's 235 pounds. That's the kind of stuff you're looking for from a freshman in those spots. Now, a guy that's been a little bit overlooked that I think we need to talk about, and it's because he's part of that last flurry of commitments, was Kevin Green. Now, he's a teammate of Price Sox at Mission Hills, Bishop Alemany. He's an ex-USC commit, and I don't need to tell anybody out there, but if you're an ex-USC commit, you're probably pretty good, or you at least have talent. And you look at the wide receiver position right now, coming back, you lose Stan Berryhill, but right now you've got a guy like a Dorian Singer, who I think has shown that he can play. Jamari Joyner, not sure exactly whether he's going to be playing at QB, whether it's a wide receiver, but he's certainly shown some talent in the past. And these wide receivers are going to have an immediate opportunity to play, whether that's Burnett, whether that's Green, whether that's, who knows, maybe a guy like T-Mac. That's going to be – you've got a bunch of different guys, and KB Thiel says he has a shot of playing the slot right away. Totally agree. There's another kid who's a four-star kid that I think is going to have the ability to be able to play in the slot as well. So we'll see about that. One thing, though, that you don't have to see about is the DraftKings Sportsbook app. DraftKings Sportsbook is the place you want to go for everything. Right now, new customers only, got a great deal. You throw down $1 on an NFL game, and if either team scores, you get $100 to play with. And you know what? You got college basketball going on. You got the NFL going on. You've got college football, still a few games remaining. You got everything going on right now. So why not hop in there, give it a shot, get that $100 to play with, and see how it works. Again, check out the DraftKings Sportsbook app, code word PHNX. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the quarterback situation right now. And did Nick Howard, when did Curry enter the transfer portal? I want to say about a week ago. But to be honest with you, I don't really think that's a loss. He's one of those guys that came in highly rated, but sometimes guys just aren't that good. I think he's the epitome of a guy that isn't that good. Now, CJ Mack says he's putting nice things on there right now. So he says, get McLeod back. I think we are an above 500 team, fingers crossed. All right, couple things. First, you hear the rumors about if Arizona trying to get in with Kadon Slovis. If you can get Slovis, yes, but you also worry a little bit about the politics. You've got a young quarterback coming in. You got McLeod coming back. So I don't want to do anything to ruffle any feathers there. But I'm cool with Jordan McLeod. If Jordan McLeod is fully healthy and he's kind of your bridge quarterback to Fafita or whoever else might be on the roster, then I'm fine with that. I think he showed that he could be competitive, and I think he showed that he can play good football, or at least football good enough to be able to win some games. Because let's be honest right now, this isn't a team that's going to win, 9 games. But heck, if you could show improvement and win 4 games, I think that's what you're selling, and your target date is year 3 or year 4 of the fish rain. That to me makes it a lot easier across the board. So again, getting McLeod's back is cool. If you can get Slovis, obviously you want to take that, but that's not something that I would totally bank on. All right, let's see here. Let's go back to KB Thiel. Wouldn't surprise me to see Burnett and Green start right away. Oh, and I really like said player too. Gadget guy, electric, for sure. If Arizona can flip him, which I have an idea that maybe they can. He was committed earlier to Louisville, and he also shares the last name with me. We're not related. So just so you know, I don't have any Division I football players in my family. He's a guy that would be able to play pretty much immediately. And let's see here. CJ Mack is talking to Scott Schlittenhart, and he says, more positive than Plummer and Cruz, but you're right. The jury's still out on Jordan McLeod. Yes. But I think we've also seen that there was a huge differential between Jordan McLeod and the other 2 quarterbacks. And I'm not saying that McLeod is, I'm not saying that he's Russell Wilson out there. And so CJ Mack then just says, if only Bijan would transfer. Yeah. All right. Jesus VAZ says, I'm glad for the QB commit, but I feel we still need to get a QB from the portal. Here's what's interesting, guys, and then I'm going to be signing off here in a few minutes, but I wanted to throw this one at you. You got to remember, though, if you're a quarterback and you're thinking and you're looking to go into a place and play immediately, I don't know that Arizona is necessarily the spot, other than if you're just really good and you think you can make other players better, because there's not a lot of proven talent at the skill positions. You're bringing in a lot of guys, but generally people that are in the transfer portal aren't going to be players that are looking to hang around for 3 years. Now, again, maybe that could change. Maybe it couldn't. But I think that's something to certainly keep an eye on. All right, before we sign off here, Anger Grim says, what's good about the incoming class can start none of what's good about the incoming class can start from last year are entrenched. Yeah, I think what Angry Grim is saying is basically that there's a lot of open opportunities here. So a Sterling Lane is going to have that opportunity. A Kean Burnett's going to have that opportunity. And Jonah Coleman's going to have that opportunity. There's a lot of different players that are going to have opportunities to play. And again, that's why you want to be on the AZ Wildcats podcast, because we got the best guests. We got the best people coming on. We're always here with you right after for the post game. And again, we got Noah Fafita coming on tomorrow at 2:00. I'll be sending that link out either tonight or tomorrow. And then we got Kean Burnett after that. We're also hopeful that we can maybe get a coach or two here in the next couple days. But guys, again, I can't thank you enough for coming on here. We've hit record numbers. We had on the one post game the other day, we had over 1,300 people just on YouTube alone look at it. And again, I can't thank you all. You all have been fantastic. And this thing's only getting started. Again, check out Go PHNX, AZ Wildcats podcast. I'll be back on tomorrow. And by the way, Uncle Kev is in the works. We got him on another podcast. But Nick, don't worry. We're working on that one as well. Again, all of you out there, thanks so much. And we'll be back with you tomorrow at 2:00 with Noah Fafita on the AZ Wildcats podcast.